All the way. He's probably going to bait as I bring him out, but...
Wow.
So this is Buddy, and he really likes his perch, so he's already eyeing it up.
Aww.
So this has been my solution to holding a 7-pound bird for a long period of time. I just perch him. And I've also learned that he really likes his perch. So this is what I do. And this is also, this was a part of his old perch, and it kind of sucked, honestly. It was really bad. It was really wobbly, and it wasn't very sturdy. And he would tip it, and I had to carry rocks around. It was just awful. It was not a lot of fun. So a local welder in Charlottesville actually fixed it for free. So he's awesome. His name is Peter Carroll, and he's wonderful. He just fixed this all for free, and it actually detaches, so I can carry it in 2 pieces. Can you hand me my... Oh, I think I can get it, actually. Oh, I should probably put my goggles on. Oh, God. I'm going to look ridiculous in pictures, but I guess it's better to have my eyes. Okay. That's a good question. So I'm going to give him a mouse. This is also my little training pouch.
Boy, he didn't waste it.
When you eat your vegetables, he says the same thing. So thanks.
He didn't waste any time.
He was fasted yesterday. So for all of our large raptors, we fast them 1 day a week so they don't gain weight, because in the wild they wouldn't eat as much normally as we feed them, or as frequently. So he's fasted 1 day a week, and yesterday was his fast day so that he would be operative today, food motivated. Okay, so I'm going to get... So, actually, this is a good segue. So you see how he looks down at his feet. I chose this picture. I don't know how well everyone can see this, but I chose this picture of him because that's something that Buddy does. He looks down at his feet. And I think it's because he thinks that food magically appears there, because I don't know that for sure. But that's a typical Buddy pose. So let's see if I can get this started. Okay, so to start, I want to start with some falconry terms. So falconry is the practice of hunting with birds, and obviously we're not hunting with Buddy, but we're using the same falconry principles for training raptors, for training birds of prey, that falconers use. So the first term is anklets, and anklets are these straps around his ankles, and the jesses are the leather straps that come down. The swivel is the metal device that connects the jesses with the leash, and it's called a swivel because it swivels. So so his leash doesn't get tangled up. I can constantly switch it, because if he baits, his jesses can get tangled up, and I can just swivel it, and they'll untangle. The leash, of course, this is his leash. It's a nice thick black leash, and then baiting. Baiting is a term for when they try to fly off of the glove inappropriately. So like if I'm handling him and something startles him, or he decides he wants to be up in the higher tree, or he decides he doesn't want to be sitting on my glove anymore, he'll try and fly away. And obviously he can't get anywhere, but it's called baiting. That's what it's called. Okay. Oh, so this is a close-up of his anklets and jesses, because you're not going to be able to see them up close, but this is an example of his anklet. It has little notches in it so that it can stretch and bend appropriately. How are you doing that? Settle down. There we go.
Like, Mom, I want food.
And then this is where his jesses come down, and you can also see his giant talons. Yep. Okay. So he had previous trainers. Last year there was somebody working with him, the person that was previously in my position. She was working with a falconer, so there were similar ideas behind what she was doing with Buddy as to what I'm doing with Buddy. But her process was a lot slower. It was like walk into the enclosure, walk out of the enclosure, walk into the enclosure and touch Buddy, walk out of the enclosure. So it was a lot slower. And basically what we've done is we've tried to speed things up a little bit. And we started in February. Dr. Dave McCrewer, he's our director of veterinary medicine. He's a falconry apprentice. So he started off assisting me with training Buddy, and now he's sort of backed off. And it's primarily falling with me now. But because he's a falconry apprentice, he has a lot of hands-on knowledge, and we've had access to some pretty incredible eagle people that know all about training eagles in different capacities, like training them for falconry, training them for flight shows, for different instances. But what are you doing?
Looking around.
He's just looking. He's like,
And we don't have a timeline for this. We don't know how long it's going to take. He's going to poop on your floor. I'm sorry.
Well, you know.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
yeah, let us know when you're going to feed so we can.
I took one right before. We don't have a definite timeline for his training. Eagles are notoriously difficult to train. Bald eagles are notoriously difficult to train. They tend to be stubborn, and Buddy is no exception. One day can be different from, like I was just saying, that my experience with him this morning was pretty awful. He was pretty bad this morning. It was like he had forgotten who I was and what was going on and, what life was. And the day before, he was phenomenal. He was a great bird, and it was like, oh, I've done this a million times. Why are you asking me to do this? I know how to do this already. So it's very different from one day to the next, but I'm definitely seeing progress, and I'm seeing us hit goal points, and I'm really excited about it. But it's going to be a long process, and it's going to take a long time, and there's likely going to be some training for maybe all of his life, but at least for many years. And eagles can live, into their 30s, so that's a lot of time for you to be trained. Okay, so our primary goals, we aren't Dollywood. So we're not training birds to fly around. We're not doing flight shows. Buddy isn't going to fly over your head and swoop through a hula hoop and fly back. We're not doing that. We're training him to just do this. This is all we're asking him to do, is to just be present and not be, flighty, not baiting, just sitting there nicely. So in order to meet our primary goals, we started by building trust. So the primary handlers were myself and Dr. Dave McCrewer. So we started by doing that. Our first goal was for him to fly to the glove on command. We wanted him to step up onto the glove when he was asked, sit calmly on the glove while he's being handled, no baiting, accept large crowds of people, be comfortable with new situations, noises, surroundings, stimuli, all that stuff. So some examples are accepting a new handler, not being fearful of unfamiliar objects or sounds, and accepting us touching him on his beak, his keel, so that his keel is his chest so we can check his body condition, his toes, his legs, and just being able to touch him in the places that we need to check for his health without having to restrain him, essentially. And he's fine with that. Entering and exiting the crate without difficulty. I think we get a gold star for that today. For the exit, at least. The entrance was not so pretty. Perching when and where it's necessary, such as when he's being weighed or if the handler needs a break. So those are our goals, and I've sort of broken out our progress. So this is our progress. So the green is we've done it, or we're doing really well. Red is no. And yellow is, okay, yeah, we're getting there. So the first goal was to build trust with his primary handlers, and I think I've done a really good job with that. I know he's comfortable with Dave, so we definitely established a relationship, and he's not very picky about his new handlers. He seems very accepting of new people, which is wonderful. Flying to the glove on command. No, we don't do that. We started with that, and it wasn't very successful. I'll talk a little bit more about that. So we're not doing that right now, although I'm starting to slowly introduce some things similar to that. Stepping up on the glove when he's asked, and in his current enclosure, he's fine. I'll talk more about that. Sitting calmly on the glove while he's being handled. That goes hand in hand with the no baiting. So in most cases, he's fine when he's being handled. He's doing great right now. But when we're walking or moving, he's pretty awful. It's like a 50-50 shot of whether he's going to bait or not. But it's still all very new for him. All this movement, being outdoors, it's all, I don't feel like I'm surprised that he is still uncomfortable with certain things.